We're live, motherfucker. Let me get to my cast here.
Oh, yeah, no. Welcome to the Storyworks podcast, everybody.
Yo, we're back. We're back at it. Episode 4. If you've still been listening this far, thanks, guys. We super appreciate you. I am your host, Zac Andrew.
I'm Andrew Hall. Lovely to be here
to bring you some content. We're going to start the show off today.
Daddy made you some content?
Daddy made you some content. Please watch Inside.
I can't say it enough.
We're going to do an episode on that sometime soon.
Teasing the Bo Burnham episode already?
Yes, absolutely. Today we're going to be talking about The Black Phone, which we kind of briefly mentioned in our last episode.
Yeah.
As we were discussing the multiverse of madness. Going to start out doing that, and then we have a second segment today, which is super cool. We're going to have a local Cleveland filmmaker on.
New segment.
Incoming.
Davis, you have to edit that and make it.
Auto-tune it? Yes, please. Yeah, so Jake Cole is going to be joining us later on in the show. Stick around for that for sure.
Super exciting interview.
But first, I just kind of want to dive into The Black Phone a little bit, have a little discussion about it. We went to the theater, I think last week sometime to see it.
Yeah, I think it was last Saturday.
I mean, it's been advertised for so long. It's one of those things that's been kind of out. It's been popping its head up. You know?
I remember seeing commercials for it back in like December.
Right.
And it was like back in December, it was supposed to release in like February.
Right.
And then it got pushed back to June.
The COVID movies, man.
Yeah, man.
These were hard times. But yeah, it was so cool to finally get to go see this thing, and what an awesome experience in the theater.
Oh, yeah. No, it was awesome.
I haven't seen a great kind of horror thriller movie like this in a while, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I've never really been like a horror movie guy myself. Like I've always been, kind of a pussy about it. But
I feel you.
But in like the past couple years, I've been kind of, dipping my toes in.
Yeah.
This was like my first, suspense thriller horror thing that I've seen in theaters, and I really enjoyed it.
I think it's a great entry into the genre, kind of. I'm not going to say it's like a full-on horror movie.
No, I don't think it is like a straight-up horror. It's way more like suspense.
For sure.
And thriller.
The horror aspect kind of
with some like supernatural elements.
Right. There's like jump scares, and that's kind of like the biggest whoa moments. But a lot of it is just, like you said, drawing super intense suspense, which they did so phenomenally in this film.
Oh yeah, dude. It was like some of these moments, man, are just so tense.
Gripping your seat, man. So good. Such great performances all around. I'm just obsessed with Ethan Hawke now.
After The Northman.
After seeing, like, we were gushing about him over The Northman, and then we see him in this role, which was, wow. Talk about dynamic range.
It's insane, man. Like I said when we talked about The Northman, I didn't even like recognize him as Ethan Hawke in The Northman.
Especially and more so in this movie now.
Yeah, I mean it helps that he's like, got a mask on for 80% of the film.
Right. But and the face paint, a very ghoulish person in general.
He's scary.
Yeah, and the way that he like fluctuates his voice in this movie.
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
He's insane.
Yeah, I've seen some interviews about him talking about the character and his take on it, because, we don't really, I'm not to spoil anything really, but you don't get much of his back.
Yeah, you don't get too much exposition on him other than just he's this insane dude who kidnaps kids.
Right, and it is really cool seeing like him talk about it in an interview and kind of how he drew inspiration and how he kind of formed his character's backstory. Just super cool. Fucking love Ethan Hawke. It's going to be the big thing that I'm finally going to start watching Moon Knight.
Yeah,
because he's in it.
Oh yeah, he is in that.
I do love Oscar Isaac too, so like I do want to see that.
Oscar Isaac is a king. He's a short king.
He's a short, beautiful man. But yes, Ethan Hawke did so good. Mason Thames,
I think.
Cool. Mason Thames.
Sorry if we butcher your name.
We love you. You did fantastic. As I was just, he did great.
Yeah, Finney.
Oh my gosh. He was awesome, man. He really he had a lot of moments to like shine and show.
He felt like a real kid in the like 70s.
For sure. Yeah, it was a very believable performance.
He wasn't like he was afraid, but he wasn't like it wasn't like that was all he was. His character, like he still fought back, and he still, you know.
Dude, it was like
he felt real.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't seeing it like while we were watching it, but kind of after, you kind of realize this is like a coming of age story almost.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's really, really cool, and he played this thing really well, especially, you know, acting with somebody like Ethan Hawke and how menacing he was in this performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Their dynamic was really cool. Finney's sister in the movie, Madeline McGraw.
Oh, she was awesome.
Wow.
Very,
so cool.
very, 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 very good actress.
Yeah, for sure. So is this no, this isn't your first experience with Scott Derrickson, because he did Doctor Strange 1.
He did Doctor Strange 1, yes.
Have you seen any of his like horror movies?
No. Like I said, I've never really been a horror movie guy until like more recently.
Me and you are going to have to hop back.
He did like Insidious, right?
No, Sinister.
Sinister, that's what it is.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, you got to hop back and watch Sinister, man.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's the main character in Sinister.
Okay.
Actually, great horror film, dude. It was like, I feel like there's always these like dry spots in horror throughout the past few years.
Things
like,
kind of get saturated.
Yeah, they're trying to land and hit marks. Sinister hit a mark for me straight up. Like that was one that was pretty scary for me. I liked it a lot.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, hell yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out.
For sure. So the look of this movie was great. I love period pieces.
Yeah, dude. The filters used to kind of get like the warm kind of feeling of the 70s, right, as these kids are playing
baseball. Yeah.
Just running through alleys and stuff. Yeah, and you have that like bright daytime, and then all of a sudden it gets dark.
Yeah.
And it gets blue.
I remember sitting in the theater with you, and it opens up with this really fun baseball scene where this kid's, he's doing great as a pitcher. And then when it there's just a shift into like the opening credits, and it's just like really scary.
Yeah, it's jarring. It was unsettling.
We looked at each other slowly and like, damn, okay, the movie's starting now. They start using like really grainy footage to kind of emulate the 70s.
Yeah.
They're showing like the black balloons that you see in the trailer and stuff.
I loved that they would do kind of like how like the film reels kind of have like the black edges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
really fun.
In certain shots, I liked that a lot.
Right.
The way that, like the film grain when they would show like the background photos and stuff.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Dude, the score for that beginning sequence is really what made your heart sink.
Yeah.
That's really what, I was like, okay, man, here we go. We're getting started.
It takes a turn and then it doesn't stop.
Right. So that was awesome. The music throughout this whole thing really hikes the suspense up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Keeps you on your toes.
For sure. And the cinematography and design, there's parts where we're stuck in a basement for a lot of this movie.
But they get really creative with the shots they do.
They do. And they designed that basement just enough for it to be like still like visually
not boring.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing I noticed right off the bat, did you remember seeing there's like that line? There's like a line of like aged.
Yeah.
It looks like a water leak or something, or just a crack.
Something to just kind of give the room.
Did you notice that it's his eye level throughout the entire movie? If you see that line, it's literally showing you. That's the top line when you're composing a shot. That's where you want the eyes to be.
Okay.
So they used that line as a literal visual reference to it was always right behind his head.
See, I didn't even equate that in my head.
Yeah, I was like, that's such a small little detail that adds so much without you even really thinking of it too much.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So they use little divisive things like that to kind of spur it up, and I really enjoyed that. This movie is about one of my biggest fears as a parent. My fiance did not go with us to see it because it's scary, man. It's about child kidnappings in a small town in the 70s.
You got your serial kidnapper / killer.
Yep. The Grabber. So that's Ethan Hawke's character.
What a name for like a villain is the Grabber.
Fucking scary, dude.
But yeah, it's a movie about a boy who's grabbed.
he's grabbed.
And his struggle to survive as things around him unfold.
Right. This was adapted from a short story that was written by who?
Joe Hill, who's also known as Stephen King's son.
That's so cool, dude. That's something I didn't realize going into it. I knew it was adapted from a short.
Yeah, but I wasn't until after the movie when I looked it up and saw that like it was Stephen King's kid.
I am itching to read that now. That's what I'm doing as soon as this episode's over. I'm going to read that.
Yep.
It's been on my to-do list ever since we saw it. So yeah, let's dive into it a little bit. Just kind of talk about our favorite parts, what worked, what didn't work. Honestly, I think most of it worked. I didn't see any flaws.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the movie a lot.
Yeah. I think you can connect a lot.
Do we want to drop like a spoiler alert or anything?
Let's go ahead and drop a spoiler.
It's time to spoil. So if you don't want to get spoiled, definitely don't just stop listening. Skip ahead.
Yeah, stick around for the
We got a
interview.
really cool interview with Jake Cole. We'll have a timestamp somewhere for you to skip to.
Yes.
But otherwise,
God bless you.
But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into some spoilers. Just one of the scenes that got me when I first watched it was it's right after the first kid after that baseball scene where the kid who gets the home run gets grabbed, and I think is it a dream that his sister has?
Yes.
Where she gets like his entire like back history of like she dreams of like seeing like baby pictures of him and him growing up and like riding a tricycle and first playing baseball. Dude, that scene was powerful.
Dude, very much so. They made you care a lot, you know?
Yeah. Really all like I think there's like one character that you don't really get, one of the victims that you don't really get too much backstory for, the one that's like floating.
Yeah. Yep.
But like the bully kid that got taken, his backstory was pretty sad.
Yeah.
His best friend who gets taken.
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
Oh man.
That hit really hard.
Just all of the really I loved all of the scenes where he was oh yeah, we didn't even bring this part up, but part of the movie is that he's in this room with a black phone. That's the
paranormal aspect.
Yeah, this is where we get into like the more supernatural stuff. There's a phone in this room, like an old rotary phone, but it's disconnected.
Yeah.
But then one night he hears it ring, and he picks it up, and he's talking to the spirits of these other kids that were kidnapped and killed.
And you see them like in the state they're in, like after their murder.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where they bring in the horror aspect.
Yeah, you get to see, there's one kid who has like part of his face is all bloody. There's another kid who is like convulsing in the air.
Oh my God, that was fucked, yeah.
That stuff was pretty spooky. But their stories are just also tragic.
They are, and it's really cool how our main character, Finn, he's like a smart, quiet kid.
Yeah.
And throughout this whole thing, he's really using his wits, and you see his inner gears working about how the fuck can I get out of this room?
Yeah, and he's
playing a game with the Grabber, really.
Yeah.
That's what the Grabber does with his
victims. And they talk about it. They say it, because the Grabber leaves the door open one night.
Yeah.
And he's on the phone with one of the spirits, and they're like, you have to go up. Otherwise, like, you have to play, otherwise the Grabber doesn't get to win.
Yeah.
And it turns into this whole like game of cat and mouse kind of.
Yeah.
But it's also almost like an escape room of sorts.
For sure,
like
dude.
That, like I was talking to my boss about it the other day.
Yeah.
Because he went and saw it.
Right.
And he was like, I liked the movie up until the point I realized that it was just a real life escape room. And I was like, that's like a really good part of the movie, I thought. I liked that.
Yeah, I imagine being a kid and your consequence is death, dude.
Yeah, man, it's scary. But like, he's getting, help from all these spirits on the other side. They're like, oh yeah,
from their past experience.
When I was here, I pulled this like cord out from the wall.
Yeah.
You can use it as a rope to like climb up to the window.
Right.
Oh, he used my bike lock to lock the door. I remember the numbers for the combination, but not the sequence.
Talk about suspense when he's trying the different combinations on that lock.
And the fucking, oh my God, he's just sitting there sleeping.
Yeah. Dude.
And he gets it open and the dog just loses it.
Dude, that was fucked. That was insane. All the while, his sister is...
She's like a medium of sorts.
She's a medium. Seems like. Because she's getting visions from the kids as well. She's getting dreams of the house.
Yeah, she sees the house. And she knows things about like the balloons. Yeah. Which is like not a thing that the police have like let known to the public.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of gets her working with the cops. And there's this like 2-story thing going on. Is she going to get there in time to save him, or is he going to get out on his own?
And it's also, I mean, she starts working out with the cops because, I mean, the cops have no choice but to, like, believe her.
She's the
only one.
These
things.
Yeah.
But at first, it results in some pretty harsh beatings.
Yeah, there's a really heavy story here, man. And I wanted to mention this. Scott Derrickson stepped away from the Multiverse of Madness in what some headlines said to be different opinions from the studio or whatever. But
creative differences.
He actually talked a little bit about making the black foam and kind of pulling from his past, I think, with his father and some of the stuff that happened. And their father in this film is abusive. He's a drunk.
He's a drunk. He's a single father.
You can tell he's a broken man.
Yeah.
And alcohol was his only outlet.
He takes it out on his kids.
Yeah, the belt beatings, man. I mean,
my God, that scene is so brutal, man.
Right, she's talking about when the police first find out she talked about the balloon, and the police showed up at her father's work.
Yeah,
is what happened.
And he's like, "Why did they show up? You need to tell them what you know. How do you know about it?
Yeah, and
it's not your dreams.
Right, your dreams don't mean anything."
Beats her. And then afterwards...
And you watch the main characters just... I mean, he has to just watch.
Yeah.
He tries to say stop, but then his dad's like,
if you fucking open your mouth one more time, then this belt's coming to you.
So it seems
twice
like,
as hard.
Right. It seems like there's a pretty personal connection between the director kind of maybe being a little cathartic with this story. So that's really cool.
And I loved that they like find solace in each other.
Right.
Like the brother and sister duo.
Yeah.
Like, there's the scene where she gets beat, and after she gets beat, she comes over to him, and they sit down to watch TV together, and he just, like, wraps the blanket around her.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we get a lot of sweet, tender moments from them.
And then that all culminates in, at the end of the movie, when they find him and he's rescued, their dad shows up and just, like, falls to his knees and like begs for forgiveness.
Right.
And they like don't say anything.
Yeah.
They just kind of hug each other.
Yeah, which was really powerful. You know, it's because it's like, no.
You don't have to forgive your abusers.
Exactly. And I think that was really cool of him to put that in there.
Yeah.
It just really showed the bond between brother and sister, and they kind of got through their own personal hell with their dad together as well.
Absolutely.
So that's really powerful storytelling. Throughout this whole thing, the mix of paranormal, the paranormal aspect is what really was the draw-in for this movie.
Yeah.
It worked so well. I want to say that the masks they used for Ethan Hawke's character.
Oh my God, they were scary.
And the mysteries about his character. If there were one thing that I would have loved to get out of this film,
a little bit more of him.
A little bit more of Ethan Hawke, but I also see that the director didn't... He did that for a reason. He didn't want to explore that past, so I respect that decision.
He has a brother
And Ethan Hawke did good about, they did sprinkle in just a little bit about maybe what happened. And yes, his brother is a fantastic character. He's got a brother upstairs. Like, this part was almost kind of not believable a little bit, because he's got his brother living with him upstairs who's trying to figure out what's going on.
He literally has like a conspiracy theory like cork board.
And he's a fucking cokehead. He's all coked up trying to like figure this shit out. Oh my god,
yeah. The cops show up and knock on the door, and he lets them in and is like, "Oh yeah, you guys are here to work with me, right?" Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm on the case.
I'm on the case. I've already been doing all this research. Look at this. Look at this. And he shows it to them, and they're all like, "Okay." And then they look at the table and they're like, "You might want to clean up a little bit."
Yep.
And then they leave.
Coke's out on the table.
And then he closes the door, looks at the table, and he's like, "Oh god damn it!"
Right.
And then he does the line.
Yeah,
he's like, "I got to clean it up," and he just does it.
Jesus Christ. And then you can find out later that is the house.
And then it is the house.
Yeah, the cops were there, and poor little Finney's just in the fucking basement at that point. So crazy, man. Just so crazy. So Ethan Hawke did so good. His character was really interesting. The way he would flip from such a sincere voice almost to, now he's got the frowning mask on.
And
And there's obviously seeds planted of his childhood trauma in there.
Yeah.
He talks about being in the room himself, just briefly.
Yeah.
But he
mentioned, he says, the phone doesn't work. It hasn't worked since I was in there, since I've been in the room.
Yeah. So the childhood trauma, big theme in this movie. Big theme. I don't think I have much else to say. I out of 10, I'd give it an 8, 8.5.
I was gonna say, I'm feeling a pretty strong 8 on that.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable, and it's not too scary. If you're somebody who's like trying to ease into like, you're not sure about like horror movies or whatever.
I'd say there was like one jump scare that didn't scare me, but it definitely made me like, whoa. And it was when it's nighttime and he's on the phone with the floating chick.
Yes.
And they haven't shown him yet.
Yeah.
And then the camera just turns and they're in the corner just convulsing.
Oh my god, yeah, that shit was nuts, dude.
But yeah, I mean, very, very good movie, very, very good watch, very powerful.
Oh yeah.
Very strong story, very sad story.
Right. We do love to see Finney get out of it with a smile, though.
He gets out, yes. He learns how
confidence.
To fight from his friend who got taken.
Right. Yep.
And he builds a whole ass trap to get out.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was dope. The way, dude, when Ethan Hawke walks over the rug and falls into the hole.
Yeah.
And like breaks his foot.
That was me when I saw his ankle twist falling into that pit. I felt that.
Oh god.
That's exactly what happened to I broke my leg, or I dislocated my ankle and had a spiral fracture like last August. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, man.
So I felt that shit, man. Such a cool way that he kind of devised that trap through the whole movie that he's in the basement, though.
Yeah.
He kind of pieces all that stuff together, which was super cool. But yeah, I mean, fantastic film, great job, Scott Derrickson, fantastic job. All the cast and crew that worked on
everybody,
it.
Yeah.
Fucking
super
awesome.
Good film.
So yeah, definitely go see that while it's still in theaters if you can. If not, definitely catch it when it starts streaming.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all we got for our movie segment. We're going to go ahead and move on to our interview with Jake.
New segment.
Inbound. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, so we're lucky enough to have a special guest on the podcast with us today, a local filmmaker from Cleveland, Ohio. Jake, how you doing, man?
Great, man. Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I know you're very busy. You got a lot of stuff going on.
That's all good. I can always carve out some time for this.
Absolutely, man.
We really do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Anytime.
So we really just wanted to have you on here, kind of pick your brain about the filmmaking process. Get a little bit of details about, for people who are really interested in trying to break through into this industry, because it can be daunting, but it can be done,
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think, at least as far as that sentiment goes, people will see how daunting it is and they'll just quit immediately.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle with that myself, getting started,
Oh, absolutely.
right out of college is very, like I said, just daunting.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Luckily, though, I had you.
You're a great intern.
Yes, thank you, sir. You kind of helped me propel myself into that. So
Good, man. I'm glad.
that's one of the lessons,
Yeah.
having communication, your contacts, who
100%,
you meet.
Excellent
100%.
networking skills.
100%.
sure.
Yeah, networking is a very, very big part of this. As much as people want to be introvert, and I can have my introvert days too.
Right.
But
Oh,
at the
for
end of the
sure.
day, it's it's about who you know. You can have that piece of paper you get from college, and I got a broadcast degree just in case my shit goes tits up. And sorry,
There you go.
No,
swear, no, you're good. Yeah, we can swear.
This is an explicit podcast.
cool, tight.
We're not.
Yeah, so if my shit goes tits up, I'll be able to get a crappy news drop somewhere, and then just be happy with that. I guess.
You gotta have a backup plan. You know what
It's
I'm
always
saying?
good to have backups.
for sure.
Yeah. So just to start out, man, how did you get your start into filmmaking, and like how long have you been doing it now?
So I got my start into filmmaking, I guess a long time ago when I was a kid. I used to make dumb backyard horror films with my friends, and I never really thought much about it. The Windows Movie Maker days on Windows XP, and
Oh yeah.
What kind of horror movies would you make?
just really, really bad ones. Just really, really bad ones.
That's the caption for it.
Just really bad.
I could
I like
never, I could never find those things, honestly.
Or have you buried them so deep?
I've tried to find them as hard as I could. I could never find them.
I've got those projects too. I
Yeah,
totally
it's just
do.
crazy. But I really got started when I was in college. I did a couple years of a Homeland Security degree, and then I had to do a lot of police ride-alongs. And during that time, I was doing a ride-along maybe once a week.
In Cleveland, yeah.
In Akron.
Okay.
I was going to the
okay.
University of Akron at the time, and it was during the very height of like the heroin epidemic. So a lot of the ride-alongs that we'd go on, it's a lot of responses to these kids that are just dead on their couches or in alleyways,
man.
things like that. Yeah, and I'm looking at these cops next to me who are at the age that I am right now currently, just completely just hardened, and I'm like, I really
Like unfazed.
just
That's
completely
not me.
unfazed. I
Yeah.
know I just felt so bad because they deal with a lot, but I just couldn't. I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be this guy next to me at 28 years old, hating life. And I was thinking to myself, well, what do I do currently that I like doing? And one of the things I was doing at the time was editing for YouTubers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and back then it was I was editing for a thing called Maker Studio, who they at the very beginning were with Markiplier and Jacksepticeye.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were like one of the first big like YouTube channel groups or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. So I was editing with them for a little bit, and I edited some of Jack and Mark's first kind of things when they had like 10, 20,000 subs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which was, and I
Blowing
never.
my mind.
What a claim to
Yeah.
fame, yeah.
Yeah, right. And I still have a couple of shirts from when I like moderated Markiplier's live stream
Oh, wow.
years ago. Yeah, it doesn't fit me anymore. I got a big,
Hang it up.
but yeah, hang it up in a frame somewhere maybe.
But that's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
What a start.
Yeah, for sure. So I hated doing the ride-alongs, and as interesting as it was, because and I still do love watching cops and live.
Oh, yeah.
as bad as shows as those are, I guess.
Those guilty pleasure shows.
In the current
yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
I do think those are important shows to kind of understand different side of how police interactions are.
Right.
But I'll digress from that. I switched from that to my parents' dismay after 2 years of a criminal justice degree into starting out as a media major in broadcast.
So that's a big jump.
It was a huge jump, and there was a lot of support, and there was a lot of what the fucks being thrown my way at the time.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I just decided I wanted to do something I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I
gotta
didn't
stay true to yourself.
Exactly. I didn't want to be this grizzled ass fucking dude, this detective at 30 years old, just not wanting to do anything with life or get some shitty desk job for Homeland Security.
For sure, man.
So I quit that degree and I went into media, and then I started working on this heroin documentary And I was interviewing some of the police. I was interviewing like the mayor of Akron at the time. I interviewed like 10 to 15 different past and current at the time addicts.
Wow.
And we were able to get that screened around the local school, but it didn't really get too much farther than that, which is fine because back then it wasn't the quality that I currently produce now.
Way
sure.
back in the
way,
day.
way back in the
yeah,
day.
like
Still,
your first project,
what a cool idea that you were immediately able to combine your old interests with, and with your new interest in filmmaking.
Yeah, I was just about to
kind
say,
of making a difference in that way.
Right.
Yeah, it was like you were coming at it from like a different angle, like the other side.
For sure. And I wanted to tell that story, and then because of that, I ended up getting my first gig as like a freelancer through ZTV, which was the college station that I was a part of.
Yeah.
Making content for them, and my executive producer at the time had told me about this this nonprofit called Summit County Community Partnership.
Okay.
And they're still around, and they ended up hiring me to do 10 anti-opiate PSAs with a bunch of different high school students from around the Northeast Ohio area, and then they ended up airing those in a bunch of like the Regal cinemas.
Oh wow,
that's crazy!
Which was super funny because I had no idea that was going to happen. I was there watching some really dumb movie in the theater one day.
And then it just appears.
Yeah, it just appears. I'm like, that looks familiar.
I made that.
Oh yeah.
That is
got to feel
cool,
surreal.
Yeah, it was super surreal. I'm like, this is awesome. So that was my first iteration of me seeing any of my content on the big screen.
In a Regal.
And in a Regal,
awesome.
yeah, which was super cool. And after that, I just was producing content for that TV station, and then we parted ways after things, and then I've just been doing freelance ever since.
And that's where you met. When you were doing ZTV, that's kind of where you met your main posse.
Yes, yep, 100%. Big shout outs to Matt Barnhart and Gerald Zellers.
The boys.
The boys, for sure. The dream team.
Yeah.
That's what we call ourselves, as hokey as it is.
But it's beautiful.
Dude, we nail it. And
I love seeing you guys work together.
Yeah. It's a great time. We try to have this set culture where we get shit done, but we're not gonna sit here and be like complete assholes to you. We're not gonna make it an unfun time. We're here to get work done, but at the same time, we're here to also
it's all your passion.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all here to have a great time and make good content.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good collaborative experience
for sure.
From every time I've been on set with you guys, it's always a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's not it's not high pressure,
Yeah.
But you're still producing that good content that you strive for,
Exactly.
Yeah, I worked with them when we did for a day of the pseudo contract.
Or the pseudo contract.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I did and I did work with Matt on Wait as well.
Yeah, Andrew got some great shots in the pseudo contract.
Yeah,
for
sure. But yeah, that was my first time meeting Gerald. I had already met Matt, but
what a king.
Yeah, no, I loved Gerald, and Matt's awesome too.
Oh yeah,
they're both super cool.
For sure. Gerald, I'm super happy we're able to kind of get him out more because he's
super chill,
super very down to earth dude. Mm-hmm. He's if you have any like script ideas, he's the best person to bounce off ideas.
Oh yeah, I let him read my current script.
So awesome with things, and Matt is literally the only reason I'm like doing anything today because he
pushes you.
Yeah, he pushes me super hard, which is great because we need that assistant director, we need that director and producer in our lives to kind of push us forward and keep us on time.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. Is we try not to like waste too much time with like setting things up or like in between shots.
Right.
And he's able to kind of like really keep us going the entire time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just as a team, you guys are always on it. Matt has so much enthusiasm and passion and love for all the projects that you guys create. Mm-hmm. And Gerald brings that sense of, I'm here to keep you guys on time.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
But it's also such a collaborative experience, and he's always like, when I got to work with him and shoot with him, he was always like, I trust you. But he would give me suggestions on how the shot could look, and just very supportive director and producer. So always awesome to see you guys. Always great to work with you guys.
We appreciate it. It's always good to have. Oh, excuse me, as I'm chugging down water. It's always good to have you guys.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to ask if you had anyone that helped to inspire you in the industry, because I had you, I had Mario, to help me along and kind of guide me breaking into it. Did you have anybody like that helped you out?
When I was first starting out, that's a good question. There's no like direct influence that I can think of while I was at the station when I was first starting out.
Nobody that kind of like mentored you or anything like that?
Honestly, I was the one that was kind of mentoring everybody else.
So like, you came in like that already.
It's super funny because like even when I was there, I was teaching a lot of the students at the station how to edit.
Okay,
because nobody knew how to edit, and the courses that were there were very
not good.
Yeah, very subpar. Very subpar. They're teaching everybody Avid, which is fine. Avid's used in the major industry all the time still.
It is.
And you know, as much fun as Avid can be, Premiere is just a little bit easier to teach people.
User friendly.
It's very user friendly. Avid, you can get that way with Avid as well, and you'll be taken a little bit more seriously with Avid. But at the same time, if you're only teaching Avid and then giving your station only Premiere to use, that's like
seems a little counterintuitive.
It's a little bit counterintuitive, and I shouldn't say only Premiere. They did have a couple of Avid editing stations, but they weren't very well used.
Right.
That was the whole thing.
The dusty ones. Nobody touches it.
Right. So it was very interesting just kind of being there and trying to catch everybody up on like how to do just the most basic things in a timeline.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you have any like any directors like big screen directors that really catch me? Yeah.
Gosh, when I was young, I really looked up to, as cliche as it is, I loved Kill Bill.
Oh yeah, dude.
I loved Kill Bill.
Kill Bill is fucking badass.
It was just incredible
to every degree.
Yeah, for sure. And as much as I don't want to be a Tarantino fanboy,
I mean,
he makes such great movies. People. Oh yeah, sure.
Straight
like
up.
And Django and
Django was like
Django's
the first Tarantino film that like I was able to like remember seeing and like retaining the information from, and I was just like, this movie is insane.
For sure. Yeah. 100%. And I really do like Martin Scorsese, of course, because he's just done a bunch of really good things.
I liked the mob movies growing up a lot. I would always catch them on like AMC, right?
I know, for sure. TV Land.
Yep.
But there's a lot of just directors I don't know, but I just absolutely love their content. One of the things I watched when I was a kid, just because I was just enamored with fucking Jeremy Renner in one of his very first roles, and I forget the main dude's name, but he's not doing much anymore. This movie in 2004 called SWAT.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
That.
Never saw it.
The intro sequence for SWAT was like what made me like think to myself as a kid, I really want to make a movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know who directed it, but it has a younger Sam L, and it was one of Jeremy Renner's very first like good roles that he was cast in.
Okay.
So seeing like a very young Jeremy Renner before like all the stardom hit is very interesting. Yeah, to say the least.
So that was kind of your movie when you're a kid. You're like, I want to make something.
Yeah. That and Shrek.
Shrek, yeah. Dude, I had a profound experience.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Watching Zombieland in theaters for the first time when I was more of a teenager. Man, that beginning sequence with For Whom the Bell Tolls playing over this like 100%. Super slow-mo zombies like tackling people. I was like, dude, I need to make movies. This is badass.
And one other person that I know was a good influence just because of how advanced he was taking things at the time was James Cameron.
Yeah.
In 2009, I loved Avatar.
Dude, yeah. I mean, when Avatar first came out,
I loved that movie. I still love it. And the thing is that's super funny is that back then, it took so much time and effort and new technology being developed to create that entire world, and then tracking it in real time with the motion capture suits and like the facial capture. It's
all the behind the scenes footage is like insane.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that for the prosumer right now, it took 13 years from James Cameron's Avatar for the prosumer to be able to somewhat do that now with Unreal Engine.
That's crazy.
That's how far ahead he was.
That is crazy, man. Yeah, Avatar was a huge deal coming out.
It really was.
Are you excited for the new one?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's exactly how I feel.
I'm like
even though
it's a movie.
It's a movie, definitely. I 100% agree with that.
It is one of the movies ever made.
Yes, 100%.
It's such a weird thing to where Avatar had such a cultural impact, and it's just he just waited too long, is what I feel like.
It's for sure.
That spark has just kind of faded almost.
I think so too. I think with that, there's also like the kind of resurgence of, the whole world's burning and we need to stop it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially like through TikTok and like all these, kids growing up and they're like, oh wow, things are real bad right now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting to see these kids starting to bring that back. So hopefully that part of the audience is what's going to be attending Avatar 2.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
No, I totally see that. So I wanted to ask you, like, what kind of projects do you typically work on, and what are your favorites to get onto?
For sure. The typical things that I work on, the typical films, I would say, are a lot of documentary work.
Yeah.
Sometimes for like nonprofits. I also do a lot of commercial work, training videos, but even getting away from the corporate side. I do a lot of feature films and short films and try and make things for festivals. I produce a lot of different indie projects in the area. So
for sure,
if anybody needs like help with crewing or casting or just equipment or anything in general, usually they'll have me on as a producer to be able to stack those sets.
For sure.
And that's more or less kind of carried over into the major industry now. Nowadays, when bigger productions start kind of coming through, UPMs and ADs will have me on dial because they know I can stack the sets with people that actually know what the fuck they're doing.
Which is so cool. So cool that you've gotten yourself to that position. You're helping other people out too, man.
Oh, for sure.
Awesome.
For sure. And that's one of the big things is like if we want to make sure Cleveland and CLEWOOD is like a thing,
right.
We got to make sure we have good people out here making good content.
Right. Showing up.
For sure.
Showing up. Good work. Yeah, definitely 100%. Show up.
100%.
Please just show up. You're halfway there already. You just show up.
100%. 100%.
So when you are in a film crew, what is your favorite position? You wear many, many hats.
I do.
So I'm curious, like what do you
position.
love doing? Like what's the most exciting for you?
So I do love directing still. I love being the director and I love DPing. I love being camera hands-on and like just getting those shots out of my head kind of thing, for sure.
Putting them into reality.
Yeah, making them into reality and like figuring out just like how to even accomplish some of these shots, especially on a lower budget with a lot of the things that are indie around here.
Right.
It's hard to make a very good impression with a low budget, but we try and continuously bust that myth.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I think we did successfully.
Oh, 100%. And, as much as I do love directing, though, it is really nice just being a producer.
Yeah.
And being able to sit back and, like,
watching it all unfold,
seeing how other people work, being able to kind of gently suggest different things in order to kind of push things forward. But at the same time, it's definitely nice being able to step back, especially on other people's projects, just to see how they're working and how
you can always learn a thing or two.
100%. And that's another thing is like I don't stop learning on sets, on big sets, on small sets. It doesn't matter. There's always something to take away.
I think that's an integral part of filmmaking and being the best filmmaker you can be.
Yeah.
Because
constantly
you're never going to know everything and everything is advancing so fast. Take a lesson from everything you work on. That's what I try to do. So,
and I'll be the first to tell you, all the shit that I've ever done isn't the best.
Oh yeah,
we've all had our stinkers, and
right.
That's just what it is. But the important thing is to just be able to grow from, you know, what you experienced on that set, how it's going to improve on the next time around, and not just being stagnant.
Right.
Yeah.
So what kind of projects are you working on right now? Like what does your company have in the works?
So in the works currently, we have 3 documentaries. One of them is called 8 Weeks to Launch, and that's about this tech startup that's gaining investors that are trying to make this app come into reality. And we have it's like a 8-week kind of episodic thing that we're making as we're getting closer to launch. And we have people from all around the world working on this app. We have people from the Ukraine that are literally on generators trying to code this app.
That's insane.
Right now.
Right? That's crazy. I can't even imagine.
We're having. I'm recording phone meetings with these guys, and we've been talking with a bunch of the other investors. One of them's from the Cleveland Racquet Club, so we've been going over that way and going to our friend Mike Bruckman, who I worked with on another documentary last year called Coalesce, which was just another beautiful time. We've been working with him on this current 8 Weeks to Launch project, and if anybody can bring anything into reality, it's this dude.
Wow,
he's like, you know, I can network people. Like, Mike is the man.
He's the man. He's at the top.
He knows how to get anything.
Wow.
Just, he manifests.
Say the word and it appears.
It's so crazy. It was like, I got it on camera. It's like, even like we were working on Coalesce, and the whole like premise of that was it's 2020, it's the middle of the pandemic, and everybody's been trapped in their house at that point for like 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
Right.
And we ended up having this huge masquerade festival at his estate in Bracknell.
Okay.
And the city of Bracknell wanted to shut it down, and there was like a huge like community thing about it. But at the end of the day, we were able to do it because it was technically a wedding.
Hey.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
There was a wedding at this event.
That's crazy.
Super crazy. But it was this huge costume party. It was
awesome.
Different stations set up around the estate with like fire jugglers and like trapeze artists and bands, singers, and like they had like these stilt walking dudes and comedians and mad magicians.
That is insane.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane. We interviewed a bunch of really crazy characters, and it's a great documentary if you ever have an hour and 38 minutes.
Yeah, is it available anywhere to watch?
It's on Tubi. Yay, thanks, Tubi.
Shout out to Tubi.
Shout out to Tubi. It's on Tubi, as well as like Redbox and a couple other things. But also at some point. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. All right.
I forgot what we were talking about, honestly.
So you've got 8 days to launch?
8 weeks to
launch.
Right. So we have 8 weeks to launch, and besides working on that with Mike Bruckman, we're also working on a documentary for the Cleveland Metro school system. It's about the Underground Railroad traveling through Ohio, and it's really about the kids' experience as they're walking through these museums and interviewing these different people that upkeep the history that are within these historical places.
Trying to show the impact that it has on the kids.
Try to show the impact it has on the kids, especially like with them being more so inner city school kids.
Right.
A lot of the interactions they've had with white people in general have just been very one-sided.
Yeah, for sure.
It even extends out into like the school system itself, with some white teachers not being allowed to teach at some schools because of the repercussions of the local kids. And one of the things that they were trying to instill with at least the first doc shoot that we did was that not all white people were bad. There's a lot of them that were setting up this Underground Railroad so that way we can bring slaves to Canada and to safety, to preserve these generations. And I think it's a good idea to be able to get these kids to kind of realize the extent of how it all went down, who had to help at that time in order to in order to bring forth future generations.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really cool, man. And it's what a great experience to just go and learn about the stuff yourself,
100%. We went to a small town called Flushing, Ohio. It's in the middle, like kind of eastern part, like very eastern part of Ohio. And it's way out in the country. You could count on your hand how many residents were there. It's a very small town.
That's crazy.
But they have a historical house. I think it's called the Holloway. Yeah, the Holloway House.
Gotcha.
And it was one of the stops on the Underground Railroad where they were hiding people in the basement underneath steps, underneath the barns, things like that.
And you can actually go and like see
where
they were. That's so crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those places are insane.
It's
like historical
ridiculous.
houses.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane how, honestly, not so long ago things were.
Yeah.
Right. But even besides the Underground Railroad thing, I'm also working on this documentary. I'm currently also living for the listeners at home on an island called St. Kitts.
Yeah, man. You went from Cleveland to
the Caribbean.
out to the Caribbean.
Yeah. He is an island boy.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I came back for some work, and it's been great being here. But I do have some work on the island that I've been doing as well.
Which is amazing.
Mainly one of the things that I was doing is with the St. Kitts Sea Turtle Monitoring Network. And I ended up going to one of their release events one time a couple months ago just to record it, just kind of say hi, get out my card, seed it a little bit, and
brought the black magic down.
Yeah, brought the black magic and interviewed some people, and they absolutely loved it. So they ended up hiring me to film this thing that Disney approached them for.
That is nuts, dude.
One of them won.
Welcome to the machine.
Yeah, right, exactly. So after signing 4 pages of Disney crap saying I won't defame them.
You're part of Mickey's Infinity Gauntlet now.
Yeah, for sure. But they ended up hiring me to do this event kind of piece where they're one of the conservation people that are there. His name's Theo.
Yeah,
he's in his lower 80s right now, and he's been patrolling the beaches day and night for the last 40-some plus years.
Jeez, shout out to Theo.
For sure, Theo's the man. He patrols the beaches every day and night, conserving different sea turtle nests, things like that. He puts out these fake eggs on top of the nest, so that way if like a local, like a monkey or a local stray dog, it'll take the fake, right?
That's
exactly.
Crazy.
This dude is just Tommy in 40 years.
Yeah.
We have a friend who is like super nature inclined.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Except he does it in like forests.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Conservationist.
Goes and like
sure.
plant like to try to like restore stuff in the area.
That's cool.
But that's awesome. Shout out to Theo.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Theo's the man. So besides patrolling these beaches, I should say, he used to be a sea turtle fisherman.
Okay.
And he used to, because on the island, you make you get most of your food from fishing.
Yeah.
Or from like local markets or from crops that they're growing on the island.
Wow.
And he was a fisherman in his younger days. He ended up helping out the Sea Turtle Monitoring Network, trying to track a certain turtle that was in the region that they were trying to find. And with Theo's help, they were able to track it down and tag it. And then a couple days later, they find on the GPS tracker that this sea turtle has made it from the Caribbean over to the western part of Africa.
What?
In just a couple of days. And ever since then, Theo just completely switched his tune. He's like, I need to protect these beautiful beasts.
Oh my God.
He's been an absolute inspiration to a lot of the people on the island.
That's so cool,
and
man.
because of this, he won this Disney International Conservation Award.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're going to have this like event that they're hosting for him on the island with like a bunch of his old coworkers, and I'm making a video for them to air at this event.
That's nuts.
And it was a lot of interviewing his old coworkers and people that worked at this nonprofit, as well as friends that are on the island.
Right.
And it's all of them just talking about great times that they had with them, how they inspired them.
Nice little love letter to him.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since he's getting up there and he can't do this forever. As strong as this man is, he's going to
resilient to be doing it in his low 80s.
100%. So it's definitely a good love letter to him on, I guess, some of his final walks.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it, man.
He definitely deserves it. If anybody in the world deserves it, it's absolutely Theo.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I only have one more question for you here. Right?
Yeah.
One of the most important questions, I think. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for anyone looking to break into the film scene? How can someone get started? I know we talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but I just want to get your final thoughts on that for anybody listening.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot to be said about it, honestly. But to kind of generalize it, there's a good analogy that one of my business friends has told me. There's usually 3 doors to a situation. There's 3 doors into anything. The first one is you're born with the key to this door. And the second one is somebody that can get you through the door. Or there's a third fucking door somewhere around this building you can fucking just kind of make your own way into.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm a very big proponent of finding that fucking third door.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of making your art and playing your part in this industry. And at the end, you don't want to be following somebody else's footsteps because what might work for them might not work for you.
Exactly.
And it's good to see how these directors and these producers and these actors get into the industry and see where they came from, because it can give you an idea of how to find this third door. So I guess to summarize, for just people trying to get into the industry, make your own way. Don't worry about what Johnny fucking director down the street's trying to put out.
Right.
Put out the content you want to put out.
Be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself, because at the end of the day, there's not enough of that in this industry. A lot of people sell out super, super easily.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with selling out. You got a family.
Got to pay bills,
feed, 100%. But generally, I see people going farther, creating their own,
doing what they like.
Exactly. They're creating their own way through,
making the stories they want to tell.
Right. And they're even going beyond just the filmmaking aspect. That's another thing I should try and empath onto anybody listening trying to get into it. Not just find your own path, but find multiple paths, because you can make a movie and you can submit it to a festival and try and get a festival run, do that, and that's one of the ways. But there's crowdfunding, there's TikTok, there's social media that you can utilize to help you gain that audience. So that way it's easier for you to get that foothold. And
now more than ever, we have so much access to those avenues.
100%. And it's a double-edged sword, because it's super easy to get into, but because so many of your people are getting into it,
you have to push yourself.
There's a lot
you have to try to stand out. In
the words of Slug from Atmosphere, there's a lot of words, but no one's getting heard.
For sure.
For sure.
You got to make sure you're not caught in the noise of it all. You
know
what I mean?
Sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, just make your art, and there's multiple ways to get what you want to achieve. And even one of the things that Matt and Gerald and I have been thinking of, we're trying to think of different ways to involve the audience with the movie watching experience itself.
Wow.
And thinking of different festival ideas, because at the moment, festivals are just very archaic at this point.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's a giant money grab.
Yeah.
It's real bad. But we're currently talking with some investors and some media lawyers to try and break the mold of the archaic kind of festival. And put more money in the pockets of the people that are actually fucking making this content.
Sounds like a dream.
The people that actually deserve it. And one of my big stories that I use to tell investors about this festival that we're kind of contemplating So we won the 2019 Best of for the 48 Film Festival.
Right.
And because of that, that sent us out to the Netherlands. They took us out to Amsterdam and Rotterdam, and we had an incredible time mingling with.
What an experience.
It was, I think about it often. It's one of the best experiences I've ever had in my entire life.
I can only imagine, yeah.
It was, we had, we spent a couple of days in Amsterdam and with one of our producers at the time, RIP, our boy Danny Bass.
A local legend, man.
Yeah, local legend for sure. But we were able to party with him in Amsterdam and Rotterdam, and we get to Rotterdam for the actual festival itself, and they rented out these huge venues for these theaters. Like, they look like small stadiums in Rotterdam, and they have hundreds and hundreds of people coming from all over the world, from China, from Brazil, from Canada, from fucking Columbus. Wow. Yeah, we ran into some people from Columbus.
That's insane, man.
That's crazy.
And
to go that far out and meet somebody else from Ohio.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a small world after all.
It's such a small world. And it's really interesting, like, listening to these different people's stories. We have friends from all over the world now just from that one event.
Wow.
And
talk about networking.
One of our friends that we did talk with, I'll omit the name because, CCP things. But he ended up making a piece of content that he was, I guess, disappeared for in China.
Oh, wow.
Because he was very pro Taiwan, and he was very pro, like, freedom.
That's insane.
And he made content that the government deemed was anarchist.
Yikes.
That's
have
insane.
not heard from him in years.
Oh my God, dude.
That's insane.
And even while we were in Rotterdam, he even told us while we were on these yacht parties, just about some of the people that were making content for 48s in his region, and some of them have also disappeared. Yeah.
Talk about making your art no matter what.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Exactly. Man. So it's definitely interesting where these people are coming from, and you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, most definitely, man.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for coming on here, man.
Oh, for sure. This is fun. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
for
dude, it was such a pleasure to talk to you and pick your brain about stuff.
Yeah, great hearing your stories, man. Join us next time. We're going to have some more guests on. We're going to talk about some more movies. Anything you want to plug, Jake? Anything?
Don't Shoot the Piano Man. You can find it on Redbox sometime soon. We're still going through distribution. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
About Don't Shoot the Piano Man. We also have a couple of different documentaries coming out. Mainly 8 weeks to launch. That'll be coming out in the next couple months. And then big shout out to our boy Nate, who's making a very heartwarming documentary about one of his friends that inspired him to get into the industry that they're going to be showing at the Akron Civic in August. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, so big shout out to him, and come out to the Akron Civic, see something great.
Absolutely. All right, Jake, thanks a lot, man.
Of course, brother, anytime.
We'll see you guys next time.